If you've been online lately, you definitely know that there is some controversy surrounding the Amazing Digital Circus, its finale, as well as the voice actors and the creator behind the Amazing Digital Circus, Gooseworks. And today I want to talk about it because I see a lot of people spreading misinformation about it or just leaving out important details. Like Critical made a video about it. His video wasn't great, left out a lot of details. But this whole thing is wacky, zany, there's racism involved, there's misogyny involved, there's a lot involved here. So let's just dive into it, let's jump in. I'm gonna try my best to kind of summarize everything, I guess, you know, because there's a lot here. I'm not going to get every single little detail there. This all started back in April 2026 when Glitch announced that the finale to the Amazing Digital Circus will be releasing in theaters, in which fans were not very happy with this decision. Fans were so unhappy about this, in fact, that Glitch actually had to respond explaining why they decided to do this and how if you want this movie released in your local cinema, contact them. That's all you really can do. To which some Glitch fans were like, nope. That's your job. This fan base is full of fucking children. So after all that, which I feel like everyone kind of knows about that whole controversy, but what happened next, you probably didn't know about because no one's really talking about. During all this going on, a live stream resurfaced of some voice actors as well as Gooseworks making racist jokes. You may see some people be like, oh, they said the N-word, which isn't actually the case. They didn't say the N-word. What happened during the live stream is that they misread someone's name and thought it was the N-word, but it turns out it wasn't the N-word, to which the recurring bit of that live stream was like, haha, this sounds like the N-word. Why is everyone involved in this fucking show so cringe? I don't understand. I'm just gonna play the clips from the live stream, because I'm just so you're aware of what's going on.
Aaron, sure, nigga, we notice you. Sure, mega?
She did not. It just sounded like it.
Did it? I said nega, you fucking idiot.
It sounded like another word.
No. Well,
Like,
you guys heard something
thought you
else.
said it. I was like, what?
You, Daddy, for the voice.
You got the voice actors making very cringy racist jokes, and then the creator of the Amazing Digital Circus, Gooseworks, at one specific point during their Jackbox game, they drew a color reversed angel dust. So Gooseworks jokingly was like, oh, that's Nega Angel, short for negative angel, right? So that's the initial thing. Now I want to say real quick is that I feel like this stuff coming out was not done for good intentions, but rather selfish and malicious intentions. To me, this feels like as if the fans weren't happy with the way Glitch was handling the finale to the show. So then they decided to dive into the internet history of the voice actors and the creators just to find more things to get mad about. And then they discovered this live stream, which no one had an issue with this live stream until now. So I don't know, right? It's probably an important conversation to talk about racism bad, but also this whole thing just feels super selfish and malicious and not done with good reason. I just want to state that before I just keep telling you the facts of what's going on. And so immediately after all this came out, the voice actors issued a response claiming that, yeah, this was insensitive. We shouldn't have done this. I'm sorry for any hurt we may have caused. But Gooseworks didn't say anything yet, right? That's further down the line. But this whole situation split the fandom into multiple different segments. You had the fandom being like, hey, this is racist. The people behind this show are racist. Everything surrounding the show is racist. You had the other side being like, no, this isn't racist. What are you talking about? And then you had even further side of that coin being like, this isn't racist. So much, in fact, we're going to start doing the same exact thing the voice actors did, which was already cringe. So it just dived into more cringe. But what do I expect from the Amazing Digital Circus fandom? And it got so bad to the point that at a convention, washed out YouTuber Plain Rock. You guys remember Plain Rock? Well, basically he just did this.
Yo, it's my nigga. What's up, nigga? Bye, nigga. NEGA.
This caused Glitch to respond being like, hey, racism is not tolerated. We will do the best we can to deal with the situation. He was just there the next day. And this situation caused Gooseworks to respond. So that's the initial thing, right? You would think this would be a bigger talking point, but nope. People moved on and stopped talking about all this stuff. Every week they get mad at something and then they find another thing to get mad about. It is an endless cycle of hell, and I am constantly tortured by it. So let's move a little bit forward into May 2026. People are getting excited for the finale until Glitch decided randomly out of nowhere cancel every South Korea showing of the movie, which is a really weird decision came out of nowhere. It was so random, in fact, that Glitch is getting sued over it. That's how random it was. Glitch made a response explaining why they pulled the plug on South Korea, as well as a few other places, with the big thing being, like, security reasons. They don't want to risk this movie getting leaked early, but boy, I got some tragic news for them. Because it leaked early. Immediately after that, like, just karma immediately just went to work. Like, the entirety of the finale leaked. It was the Brazilian dub that leaked, but still, the finale leaked. And fans were not happy by this finale. They were like, this is bad, this is awful, worst finale ever. And you would think they would also be mad, like, oh, hey, this sucks that it leaked, this is awful. But nope. They were just mad at Gooseworks. And the reason why they were mad at Gooseworks is because one fan asked them how they felt about the finale leaking, and they were like, who cares? Which I think is a perfectly fine response. I know fans were just making fun of her, be like, she's trying to be all nonchalant, but it ain't working. She's an awful person. Why don't you care about this? This fandom is full of children. This fandom is full of children. I feel like this is a perfectly fine response to have, because realistically, what else can you do to be like, who cares? The cat's out of the bag. You're not gonna get the cat back in the bag. Like, the finale leaked. It's just out there now. You can't unleak something. So I thought her response was fine, but the fans were not happy with her response. And, like, people did not like it, in fact, that Gooseworks literally had to make a response being like, hey, I know you don't like the way I responded to this, but I just want to make a little silly cartoon. This just became way bigger than I wanted it to be. And you could tell for a while that Gooseworks is just checked out of this show, checked out of the fandom. And you know what? I totally understand. With people now being mad at Gooseworks for how she responded to the finale leaking, this caused this whole racism discourse to be brought back up again, with people saying that, like, oh, the people behind this show is racist, Gooseworks racist, and then you also have the other side being like, this isn't racist, this is a nothing burger, what are you guys talking about? This whole controversy gets brought back up again, but now people decide to dive into Gooseworks' internet history. Because if you aren't aware, Gooseworks has a very edgy sense of humor, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea. Some people aren't gonna like it, some people are gonna like it, it's whatever. And people also find this thread of tweets, which I'm just gonna show on screen as is. I'm not gonna, this is what it says. This is literally what it says. So not only is the conversation about Gooseworks and racism and how her being racist, there's now conversations about her being, like, misogynistic and just overall just diving a little bit too deep into her edgy jokes. Like, edgy jokes is whatever. In my personal opinion, I feel like you shouldn't compare yourself to Shadman. Probably should have left that one in the drafts, buddy. But yeah, people are diving into all this stuff, and some people are just kind of spreading misinformation, right? So we got this person saying Gooseworks is innocent, you're just saying she's racist by association. What is this then? And this is like a very clearly cut out, here's the full screenshot, here's the full comment, but you got this one being like, hey, so Gooseworks actually hates women, and it's like tweets that are like very obviously jokes. So at the current moment, we kind of didn't move anywhere. The fandom is still split 50-50. You still have people that are like saying, oh, Gooseworks is awful, the people who made this show is awful, everyone involved are awful people. Then the other people being like, this is nothing burgers, what are you talking about? Nothing really changed from that. It's just now there's more stuff to talk about, I guess. But another thing that happened involving this whole thing that doesn't involve Gooseworks, but instead Glitch, there are now allegations that came out against Glitch, with them allegedly being misogynistic, abusive, as well as bully their employees. And also they are poorly mismanaged. But yeah, that is the entirety of the Amazing Digital Circus finale controversy. As I said, there's a lot. Hopefully I was able to talk about everything that came out. It's currently 3:11 in the morning. I gotta get this video done and uploaded. I am absolutely tired. You can probably tell I'm tired. But yeah, it's another week in the Amazing Digital Circus fandom. Yeah. Thank you for watching.